Hi everybody, welcome to the QB School. I'm JT O'Sullivan. Today, X's and O's, deep dive into a concept. Fired up for this one. We're talking spacing. The good, the bad, the confusing, why it works on a bunch of different levels. I'm fired up for it. We're going through 5 different NFL offenses. Should be a good one. Let's dive into it. Welcome to the QB School. All right, so the essence of spacing is really just exactly what it sounds like. It's basically spacing out of different routes underneath the coverage to give yourself the best opportunity to get a quick, easy completion. So just about every team runs some variation of this. It's usually tethered with a backside route that is really the first read. So when you read it, whether it's a slant, a hitch, a quick out, a stop route, it can really be any quick throw that's usually the one or the alert based on what the coverage is. Then you're going to come back and just work left to right or right to left. So we'll see a bunch of different examples about how this works. And it's a really simple early day one installation type play. And versus any type of zone coverage, straight zone coverage, it's going to give you a bunch of different options to get really easy, simple completions. It gets a little bit more complicated when you start playing against any type of man coverage or any type of underneath match, because there just isn't a lot of opportunity to create space in any tight one-on-one coverage. So if you catch a zone or you know they're in zone, this is a great, easy, simple call at any level. You can get in a little bit of trouble if you don't have built-in man beaters. And then finally, at the very end, I'm going to give you a special, haven't done it yet on this channel, one of the things that I think is kind of the evolution of this play and gives you a bunch of different options, and it's a great play, and I'm fired up to share, so make sure you stick around to the end. So let's dive into it, a little spacing. So the first one up we're looking at here is from New Orleans. This is back in the day, Mike McCarthy as the offensive coordinator. We called it spacing, we called it spider, excuse me. It is just spacing. So let's quickly go over the spacing rules. So when you think spacing, really think 3 receivers. So oftentimes it's at a bunch. Either way, you're gonna get 3 players on what's really the backside. So from here, we go from an old school blue formation in West Coast world, but this is really just a kind of strange bunch. So 3 receivers, the point usually goes over the ball 5 yards. The hitch usually goes right up. In the NFL, it's always like 2 yards outside the hash, but it's really just a straight up hitch, find space in here and allowed to work that area right there. And then you're gonna get the number 3 from the inside is gonna run a flat, and then the number 4 is going to run like a check down. So it doesn't matter how you get there, but there will be 3 receivers, kind of close. The point usually goes over the ball. The outside runs the hitch. We'll get a flat to stretch that defense, and then we'll run that check down usually outside that last hitch. And the read is really simple. It is 1, 2, 3, really 4 down to the check down. You almost never throw that flat unless you just get absolute 0 hot. But even 0 hot, you're probably going to want to throw that slant. So there are all sorts of different unique little spacing rules here for these wide receivers. And the essence of this thing is you're trying to throw this slant. So you got to have someone who comes in here and has the ability to win, have this trust angle where you know that you can throw it and the corner is not going to come in there and dive this thing and hit him right in the chest. He's got to take an angle that he must cross the face of the corner, whatever that looks like. Sure, you'd love to get it like this and go perfectly straight on a 45, but that's just not necessarily the case. So you go there, 1, there it is, 1 to 2 over the ball, 3 to that hitch, 4 or 5 outlet to the side. And it's really just 3 steps when you're under center. And if you're in gun, it would just be 1 step. And so all you're gonna do is just go left to right here, whoop, and it's that simple of a read. Pure progression from the old school notes. Again, an important coaching point here that you'll see in my notes all the time is you really have to look at the slant. Because when you go to look at the slant, you take your 3-step drop and your eyes go over here, it manipulates all these underneath defenders. So they will all move with your eyes. So if you don't like it, it's squashed. Now when you come back, these underneath defenders have moved to distort the zone. So you get more space to go to. And then the one that's often open is this 3, this last one, because your eyes, everything is looking this way. So these zone defenders start moving, and then you quick snap around, and this guy's usually standing wide open. So that's the first way to do it. Just really simple, basic, 3x1 spacing with a slant. Want to take a time out here and thank this video's sponsor, TeamSynced. TeamSynced is an all-encompass communication app. It's built by athletes for athletes. It's a great way to empower and engage your teams. It can be used at the intercollegiate athletic level. I use it at the high school level. It's an outstanding platform to basically house all your communication needs. So players can communicate with coaches. You can house calendars. There's different ways to interact, hold files, different storage elements. It's a great kind of communication hub to allow your team to know how much you value explicit communication. It's a great way to kind of introduce it, provide a technology that can handle it, and it's really been one of those kind of great improvements for our program. So if you're interested, please check out the link in the description for the video. Again, thank TeamSynced for being a sponsor of this video. Make sure you get over there, check them out, tell them that the QB School sent you. It is free through May, and then there'll be a discount for the QB School community. So check it out. Let me know what you think. I appreciate it. Get over there, support TeamSynced. Here are a bunch of different variations. This is from the exact same playbook, basically just run out of different personnel groups, 12 personnel, 11 personnel, different ways to get there. Again, three receivers. We got the slant, we got the spacing with the spacing rules. As far as all the spacing rules means is that you want to make sure you hit those landmarks. So over the ball, 2 yards outside the hash. Within NFL, hashes be different at different levels where the hashes move. Again, you got to understand, these are 15-year-old notes, but these things are still relevant. You have to manipulate the underneath zone coverage with your eyes, and that means that you must come back and stare at the slant, even if you know you're not going to throw it, even if it's dead on arrival. You come back, you stare at it, and then you flip around real quick. You can actually, some people actually get depth and kind of almost shuffle back to make this read. So these next two are from the Green Bay Packers, and they don't call it spacing necessarily. We called it just straight up slant, and everyone knew it was tethered to spacing on the backside. But again, you'll see it doesn't really matter how you get there. It's a 1x3 or 3x1. You're going to have a slant on the backside, and then you're just going to read this thing left to right. 1, 2, 3, outlet, 4. And it's really just that simple. That's why it's such a good play, because there is no what is the shell, is it man, is it zone? It's left to right or right to left. And it's that simple at just about every single stop. So again, totally different way to get there. Again, West Coast terminology with the 200 jet. All 200 means is that it's 3-step. Get it? 3 digits. 3-step. Again, 3-step right here. Must look at the slant. Even if you know you're not going to throw it, come back and put that thing just left to right or right to left. Next one up is from Minnesota. Again, kind of a hybrid system, called it just straight up spacing. Again, there's no secret at this point. Slant, 1. Over the ball, 2. Hitch, 3. Flat, outlet, 4, 5. That's simple. 3-step, look to the left, flip your hips around, get a little depth. Basically, in my mind, versus zone coverage, it's really just like having 3 checkdowns. It's a slant and 3 checkdowns. Get a completion. Now we're in the digit system, which for me was Mike Martz in Detroit here for this book. And I really couldn't find a legitimate spacing concept. And we didn't run it when I was with Mike at any of our stops. And so this is really the closest I could get. This is kind of a little bit more in the doubles world for me. But I put it on here just so you could see that not every offense is exactly the same. Spacing's got a little bit more West Coast roots, but there are still elements of it that work here. And what I mean by that is we're getting stop, little hitches on the outside. That's what these ones are here. So 191 is just, this is a 1 route, hitch, 9 route, 1 route, F with the 6, which is just this little sit down over the ball. So really the read here, depending on, you can sit here and read all Mike's notes, but the essence of this thing is we're really trying to get an easy completion out to these little ones. If it's not there and you know it's not there, you just come right back over the ball. So it's a variation of spacing. Again, the digit, might give you a little bit more flexibility, adaptability here. Instead of just having a slant on one side, now we got hitches, stops, fades, but it's really the same thing. You get a wide receiver kind of check down over the ball. Obviously, it's a little bit different with the 99 potential versus cover 2. That's one thing about spacing straight up with a slant. Sometimes it's not great if you get a cloud corner into that slant. It's going to be really hard to bang it. But again, here you'd have a 99 or all go kind of adjustment. If we got cloud over here to the boundary, you could go all go to the side. That's what this 99 means, to then back down to this wide receiver over the ball. And it really operates the same way as spacing. So everything would be kind of 1 to 2, 1 to 2, just like that. Still the same variation of what you would do with a spacing read. Next up, this is Cincinnati. This is, I'm not even going to go into what it's called there, basically Tacoma. Then they tagged it with a stop route. This is what stop route over here. But again, it really doesn't matter what it is. It's 3 receivers running that spacing concept, which they tethered to Tacoma. But it's spacing. And they could put anything over here. You could put quick out, you could put a slant, you could put a hitch, you could put anything. So we do a stop. Again, in Cincinnati, the read was a little bit different, but this was basically an alert if it was perfect. Otherwise, it's the exact same thing. 2 over the ball, 3 check down, outlets. But to me, this is just 3 checkdowns. That's how it always was in my mind. It was, this is 1. I really want that throw if it's there. Otherwise, I'm going to come, flip my hips, go just right across the board, find a completion. Again, in the Cincinnati book, they actually had the reads. Again, this is kind of an insight into that middle field open, middle field closed video about how and why reads might change. Again, the only difference here, this is basically 3 deep is closed, 2 deep is open. You got a chance to take that one-on-one stop route here. Otherwise, it's just right across the board, left to right. Hook over the ball, hitch, check downs. Same thing. This time they actually taught, and I remember this being a little bit different than another spot, but I know some West Coast guys who would do this. If they knew they weren't going to throw that slant or that one-on-one route, they would pump to really get that underneath defender on the spacing side to move. You come back, take 3, pump it over there, then flip your hips, come back, find the sit, hitch, hook, whatever you want to call it, the 3 checkdowns on the other side. Just read it right across the board. Another one from Cincinnati, really similar play, just change the personnel here. But again, it's nice to come back after you see the read. So basically, if it was open, 2 deep, right here at cloud corner, you're going to come back here and pump this thing. That's going to manipulate all these underneath defenders. Then when you come back, you're just going to go 1, 2, 3. Find a check down. Get a completion. Zone coverage, get a completion. I like to get in more of an empty set. And this is a little bit more of how this play is used nowadays. It's often tethered to straight up slant flat, which is dragging in the West Coast world. Or you can see it out of squeeze formations where this guy will run a stick. So it could be spacing stick. But it doesn't matter what it is. It gives you basically a little bit more man opportunity here with the slant flat. Just this kind of a potential for a rub, potential for someone to fall, different things to happen other than just straight up running a slant and getting 4 checkdowns all to one side. Let's run slant flat, a little bit wider at an empty, create a little bit more space to come back and basically go 1, you love it, take it, absolutely. Otherwise, it's right across the board. The read doesn't change. The rules don't change for the wide receivers. It's just 2, 3, 4, outlet. There it is, right across the board. Again, that's the beauty of it, the simplicity. The thing doesn't change. We can tether it to any concept. In fact, some places will come in here, they'll run 7s, circuses. You can run it with a sail. You can run it with any kind of 2-person combination. You could run it with a smash. Any sort of variation at an empty to basically give you check down opportunities. So what I like to think of it is almost like a man zone type of read, where you know it's man, you got to take this slant flat. If you know it's zone, you can hit this thing if there's a gaping hole. Otherwise, you're going to have these great opportunities because you're manipulating the underneath coverage with your eyes. Again, back to Green Bay now. Again, staying in the world of a little bit more opportunity to throw the ball, give yourself a little bit more options. It's a great empty play. And so right here, we're going to go some straight up empty. And really, it's the same similar concept. They just get there a different way here. It's not straight up empty. They're running it with a wide versus a flat, but it takes the same space. You're attacking the same space with the same concepts. You've got dragon, straight up slant flat on one side, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way across. Really simple, fast way to go. One thing that Brett used to play this thing so fast is that he would often have this idea that he would skip this number 2. I always remember. Our quarterback coach at the time, Daryl Bevel, used to tell Brett all the time, don't skip 2. He's not there quite as much as the second hitch is, but he's there sometimes, and it's usually a big body tight end. And so you really just got to train yourself, because it really is easy to go one to just kind of 1, 2, 3. It's not there. Shuffle back and flip your hips, and you almost naturally come here just because there still are more guys moving this way with your eyes. It just feels like this naturally happens a little bit more, this outside hitch. But this inside one can't be stopped. And that's the beauty of it, because it's a pure progression. Left to right, right to left. Simple. Another variation I love that gets you a little bit more man answers. If you come out and bang a slant a few times here, you come out and hit them with a sluggo. And to me, this is a great way to run sluggo, because in essence, you're taking a shot with sluggo down the field. If he wins, great. The footwork of it is really simple. It's usually 3, pump, shuffle back. Quarterback has to control that near safety, and whether it's too deep or whether it's middle field closed. You often say in sluggo that the wide receiver is responsible for the corner, beating the corner, and then the quarterback has to manipulate the safety. In this drawing, this middle field open, nobody in the middle of the field. He's got to manipulate this safety and can't let him make a play on the ball. But you take a shot here. If it's there, throw it. If not, great underneath routes with the normal spacing rules. Consistency. This is the beautiful thing about it, right? This is how offenses are multiple and adaptive. They change one thing, but keep the core, the underlying principle of the concept the same. So you can put anything out there. I think sluggo is the natural evolution because it's often tethered to a slant, but it's a great way to take a shot and get these underneath, essentially, checkdowns. Now let's get into the good one. This is one of my favorite variations. I tried to get it put in a bunch of different places, and it just never really kind of settled into something the play caller loved, but I love this. Now, if you haven't figured out from this video yet, spacing has been a weird evolution for me. I remember loving it when I first came in the league, because we would install one, and the defense was only running, cover 3 or cover 4. And it was simple because it was easy zone coverages, and I could get completions, and I looked like a genius because I could get completions in minicamp, and other people were trying to bang contested slants. And so for me, it was great early on in my career. The more I played and the more man and match coverage that's out there, you need a few more answers. To me, it's almost, depending on what level you're at, it can be a bit of an oversimplification for a simple completion. So I want more answers. And so this is one of my favorite plays. I'm excited to share it with you all. This is an exotic in my opinion. It is basically a double move at every route through spacing. So go with me here. Make sure you put this one in. Let your players have fun with it. If you're a coach, if you are a quarterback, try to sell your coordinator, your play caller on this play. I love it. I'm going to walk you through it. I think it's got all sorts of touchdowns all over the place. I want to thank the sponsor of this video again one more time, Team Synced. I'm going to quickly share kind of the interface of what the app looks like from the front when you open it up, the dashboard. Got that hamburger in the top left that allows you to get to the calendar, be able to see what's coming on. You see what's the next few things on the right-hand side. You get a weather, you get a contacts thing, you get different ways to message your team. And it's really a great, simple, user-friendly interface that I've loved, especially in these kind of times of uncertainty where communication has been of the utmost importance. This has been a great way for our program to stay connected, stay linked in, to know what's next. We're able to schedule our Zoom workouts on there. They've actually just updated the software, so now you can just put in the Zoom link right into the calendar. It's a one-button click for the players and coaches, and it's been a great addition to our program. Make sure you go check out Team Sync. The link is in the description for the video. So the first thing is it's basically spacing. It is spacing. That's why I'm putting it in the video. But the core of it here is slant, sit over the ball. There's that second hitch, and there's that flat. Okay, that's spacing. You'd read it right across the board, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, outlet. Well, this is basically a double move at every spot. You're going to read it the same. Sluggo 1. Now we're going to read what I'm used to calling kind of a jerk mentality here, because it makes the defender look like a jerk, where you come in, sit this thing down. I've also heard it called a juke. And then when the quarterback makes eye contact with you, you jump out of there and run this way. So basically, you're going to come back here, no to the sluggo. You come back over the ball. Once he makes eye contact, you jerk away as fast as you can. And it's the same thing here. So you'd come here, all of a sudden, no to the jerk across. Then you've got this swirl route, which is just a hitch and go. But it's not a hitch like a stutter go where you would hitch and keep your hips moving forward and go. You would twirl this thing. So you're going to come up, sit right here, hold it for a second, then spin out of it. And really this thing turns into all go down the sidelines with a wheel. So it's that simple where it's going to be 1 to the sluggo, 2 to the jerk, 3 to the wheel, 4 to the swirl wheel, 3 to the real wheel, 4. But really this is just an all go read here. And I love this thing in kind of the mid red zone, like 10-yard line, where these throws are high back 5 throws you hear me talk about all the time, where you get these quarters, kind of red 7 defense, where guys will sit on routes, and as soon as they see someone turn, they will drive. And when you have these built-in tight double moves, it's a great concept. And it's just right across the board. And then the beautiful thing about it is that when your eyes are over here with this kind of built-in, what I'm going to call a burst check down, it changes a little bit because normally you'd be over here for a normal outlet, but I want a little bit more of a runaway for more answers. So I like having this built-in burst check down. So it often operates as almost like a screen because these guys are clearing out of here with these double moves. This check down becomes really good right as basically just screen right. So you've got double move, touchdown, double move, potential punt return left, double move, potential shot right up the seam, double move, old school wheel route, and then you've got a great check down coming out just like a little screen to the right. So if it wasn't there, your eyes would be over here late and you could almost bail and find that check down going this way. So obviously I like that play a lot. I'm excited for that one. It's got all sorts of opportunities. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I appreciate y'all being here. Spacing, kind of a core element of a lot of passing games. I think it's fun to dive into, have a better understanding of it. In essence, zone coverage, lots of options. You got checkdowns all over the place. You got a chance for a slant. You got a chance to build in different concepts tethered to it. If you get into empty, get some man beaters on one side, get your spacing on the other side, and then finally spacing special. It's got all sorts of options. Great play. I'm sure all the 7-on-7 coaches are going to be loving that one. So again, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the video in the comments. I appreciate it. See you next time.